Hi, Paul Elias here for White Peacock Fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon fishing line needs to be 100% fluorocarbon, needs to have low memory, low visibility, high tensile strength, and 100% knot strength. I've been fishing White Peacock Fluorocarbon for 3 years, and it has all those characteristics. It's available in all the popular sizes, so go out there and get you a spool and try it. You'll love it.
All right, guys, we are back with another great episode of BassCast Radio. I am Brian, your host, and to my right is Hank, the Bass Geek. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? You know, just banging and slanging.
There you go. There you go. What's been going on, man?
God, dude, so much. You know, it's getting close to the end of the year, so you got to do so much on the business side, and then fall fishing is getting good.
Yes.
And you know, we just dropped a video on Wednesday that's got us out there doing some topwater fishing a little rig that you're going to get to see more of in the next video. That's coming out on Sunday. So, you know, just what's going on, what's not going on.
There you go.
That's a good question.
Speaking of that topwater bite rig that you're speaking of right there, that was the bite this past weekend that took home a brand new nitro boat on Smith Mountain Lake for the 3-day big bass tour event. Jared Ward ended up winning. That was the 862.
Oh, we both come in light, man.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. And like I said, 862. I think the winner actually had an 844. And I haven't heard from the winner yet, so hopefully I got to reach back out to him. But congratulations to our winner. But yeah, 862. It was great to meet everybody. I appreciate everyone coming up saying hello. It's the cool thing about the event, like we said earlier, I'm not going to harp on it too much. It's just cool that it's so many different anglers. It's guys from down there next to Bass Geek come up. Yeah. I mean, it's people from all over Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Wait a second. New York. I mean, I've seen them all. I mean, it's like watching license plates, but just watching boat registration.
You know, I've never got to fish one of the big bass, man. I've always wanted to. It is a unique style of tournament. You know, it's pretty cool the way they do it.
It can be cool and it can be stressful. Yeah. And you can lose money because, you know, you're watching your phone and you say, well, do I want to go far away? Do I want to run up the river? Do I want to run 30 minutes? And then it's going to take me a 30-minute ride back. Yep. And hopefully I'm not knocked out with my 3.5-pound fish.
Mm-hmm.
When it's been taking 4 to 5 pounds to get a check. So it's quite, it's an awesome concept because it is really freaking cool. Watch them running in at the last minute, trying to get that fish weight in, get that $100 check, which is the final check, and $1,000 check, which is the first check, and they pay 10 spots. And like I said, Jared gets a brand new nitro.
Can't beat that.
No, you can't beat that at all. So that was first part of my weekend. And then we headed on down to Bugs Island to see Jeff and Clay Ross win the Bass Nation of Virginia Fall Classic Championship. So congratulations to them. It was, besides being wet and rainy, it was a really good weekend. So got to wash and dry a lot of the clothes. So
did you get a lot of rain up your way? He ended up pretty much missing us. I was totally kind of irritated because I stayed off the water and I think it rained like twice for maybe 30 minutes.
I'll be honest, we got up here what I call stupid rain. It's that stupid rain when you go down the road and, you know, if it's too fast, you hear squeak, squeak, squeak. Yeah. If it's too slow, it builds up. So I call it the stupid rain. It's in the middle right there. I mean, it's like, just pour down and get it over with that, going it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what we got all day. I mean, it was foggy 1 or 2 mornings.
Yeah.
But luckily I was underneath shade. And then when I went to Clarksville, which is about an hour and a half from the house, it rained all the way down until I got to Clarksville. It rained for maybe 5 minutes there, 10 minutes at most, and then it stopped and it was like beautiful. Well, not beautiful, but nice.
Yeah.
And then I get back in the car and get 10 minutes away, and it rains all the way home. So let's just say the windshield wiper blades, just pretty much put me to sleep this weekend. I mean, because you figure 4 trips to Smith Mountain Lake and a trip to Bugs Island. So gas cards are always welcome here at the BassCast.com. We were rolling, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So for you guys who are on Instagram, we did something a little different. I don't know if you've had a chance to check it out. I went a little crazy on our contest this month, and we're doing a fish contest. You submit a fish, send it to me, tell me how much it weighs, maybe a little bit about it if you like. It goes up on the Instagram with the tag of how much it weighed. The fish with the most likes wins a prize pack from the BassCast.com.
Nice.
It's nice and it's rolling in. I'll tell you that right now. You guys are all sending in photos. I think I got 7 today. So thank you guys for that. 3 yesterday. We're up to 10. And you still got more time. You got the whole month. I mean, you guys can submit it. One. I am gonna say I'd never really cut that off. It's 1 per person. I can't do nothing crazy. It's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, submit me a fish, send it to the BassCast.com, and send all your friends to the website. And they have to like the photo. And it's something easy and peasy. And hopefully I don't have 100 photos go to by November. But I wouldn't mind it. I mean, it's great content. It's great to see you guys catches. And, that's what the whole thing was. That's what the BassCast is built on. It's promoting you, the angler, not me. I've got my own page, Bass and Bron 73, if you want to follow me on Instagram. And you guys can head on over and follow Bass Geek on Instagram.
I don't do a whole lot on Instagram.
There you go. Well, I don't do a whole lot on
that's
Facebook.
That's a lie. I do a lot of reels. I post probably on Instagram. I post something about every day.
Well, I try to post 2 to 3 times a day, and the reels, thank you guys, have been blowing them up. We're both getting compensated for reels, and I think we got to re-sign back up for the month of October now.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for blowing up our reels. We really appreciate that. The like button, the share button, you guys are great. All the money goes back into the BassCast.com, which pay for the gas this weekend.
That's right.
Because I went through $100 worth of gas. I'll tell you, it's almost $100 worth of gas. So I think it ended up being $60 worth of gas for the weekend. And then I ate twice. So there was $100. Thank you, Instagram. And thank all of you guys out there for following us and hitting the share and like button to all of our reels. So thank you. All right. Well, we got one in the waiting room, guys. We got something a little different today. We got a podcaster. That's right. We got someone who is in the process. They've done a couple of podcasts already, and they are in the process of starting their own they got their own podcast channel. It's Mr. Chris Hollingsworth. You guys all know him on Instagram, and his wife as well. It's Mr. Wish I Was Fishing. And I Was Fishing is the name of his podcast. So we got him on with us tonight. Really appreciate him coming on. We're going to learn more about him besides, what we all see on Instagram. And we're going to talk about his story and why he decided to start his own Instagram channel. And, I don't think he's late to the ballpark because this thing got big during COVID, guys and girls. I mean, everybody. I mean, I saw musicians I follow that you're like, you have a podcast? Yeah, I just started, but it's probably done now because they're back to performing. So, I mean, it's, everybody had to have something to do. Reality stars, movie stars, TV stars, musicians, you name it, all started a podcast during. And luckily, we already had ours. We were rocking and rolling.
Oh, now all we got to do is outlast all them part-timers that drop off.
That's it. There you go. And we're doing it. We're making it happen. We got guests lined up. We got Chris Brummett. We spoke the other day. He wants to come back on because he won points for the BFLs here in Virginia.
Nice.
Again. And you guys all know we got the final Southern Open this weekend. So there's a lot still happening right here in Central Virginia. I mean, it all over, really, to be honest. I mean, it just seems like the years last longer and longer, which is better and better for all of us. And we get to watch more fishing. Another thing, guys, hopefully you saw the post on the BassCast.com yesterday. That new 3-on-3 that Major League Fishing is doing. They've done all the recording. I really don't understand 3-on-3. I mean, I really don't want more than 3 people in my boat and then a cameraman on top of that. But hey, it's Major League Fishing. Let's do something a little crazy, okay? Let's add 4 more feet to the boat so we can just put, we're not hitting.
Now, is it 3-on-3? Like they're not all 3 in the boat, are they? I think they all fish out of are they really?
I don't know.
I was thinking they fish like it's a team deal. Like, okay, so there's 3 guys versus another 3 guys. It's kind of this elimination team.
Yeah.
I think they did it once already. Like
they have. Okay, yeah, and they did one. The filming just finished up like in Michigan or something like that. So lots of great things coming from Major League Fishing for you guys. Heck, we just got content all year round, man. I mean, it's like fishing, fishing, and fishing. Because if you ain't fishing and you're a professional angler, guess what, geek? You ain't making no money.
That's right. I heard they're coming to my neck of the woods. Now, I don't know if it's the Cups or if it's the Pro Tour, but I've heard they were coming to Douglas and Cherokee.
Heck yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting one. I'd really like to see. I hope it's the Cups.
Well, the Red Crest guys is coming down to North Carolina, and we will be there for that. So, and hopefully, like you said, Geek can head on over and check out a Major League Fishing event.
I'll go down there and be like, boys, let me show you how it's done.
Gosh.
No, I won't. I'll be like, boys, I'm going to follow you around and drop waypoints on everything you find.
Boom, boom, boom. Too much. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Mr. Chris Hollingsworth.
Hi, Paul Elias here for White Peacock Fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon fishing line needs to be 100% fluorocarbon, needs to have low memory, low visibility, high tensile strength, and 100% knot strength. I've been fishing White Peacock Fluorocarbon for 3 years, and it has all those characteristics. It's available in all the popular sizes, so go out there and get you a spool and try it. You'll love it.
All right, guys, we are back with Mr. Chris Hollingsworth. What's happening, brother? Welcome to the show from California, if I'm correct there.
California it is. Northern California. We're up at a place called Auburn, and just a great place to be an angler. So I love it up here.
All right. So the reason why you're here tonight, you got a podcast you've already done a couple episodes, but what we really want to dive into who you are first. And, for people that don't know, other than what they see on Instagram and I don't know what 20-some thousand followers. I don't know how many it is. I forgot to go look.
That's all right. It's like, I don't know, 18, 19. It's always about a tenth of what my beautiful wife has. So it's okay. So it's all good. We all get along out there.
But tell us a little bit about, a little bit about your Instagram, your following, kind of what got you into the fishing and then into the social media part of fishing.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you the 30,000 foot view. So going backwards a little bit, I was a plumbing contractor. I mean, growing up fishing, I was a fly fisherman. I lived in Texas when I was really young, used to go out in Galveston and fish off the piers. And then all through high school, I was like a snowboard, skateboard punk, but we would still go and we would fish up in the Sierras. And that's kind of where fly fishing took off. A quick segue is I was 8th grade graduation. I actually hopped in a truck with my dad, went to Oregon, and I taught myself how to fly fish from like a Kmart how to fly fish kit.
Oh, wow.
And so just like this whole, I don't even know, the evolution is just crazy. Again, back to skateboarding and snowboarding, and met my beautiful wife. We got married young, became a golf pro. And then the backside of like my business, owned a plumbing company, was a golf pro, and then got into events. And specifically with events, I was managing events, producing breast cancer events, leukemia lymphoma walks, but also paddleboard races. And I started fishing almost exclusively off my paddleboards.
Oh, wow.
And so fishing local in the lakes and fly fishing. And then we actually moved back to this place where I live, and I grew up over here, went to high school. There's phenomenal bass in this lake. And we're talking, my best here is it's 925. There's a fishing club. It's incredible. It's just protected water, absolutely spoiled. And I was fishing for bass off a paddleboard. I started fishing in tournaments against these kayak anglers that they're sitting down cheating, pedaling with their feet, and I'm standing up and I'm blowing in the wind. And these guys are like, hey, you know, there's these kayaks that are made for fishing. Like, why don't you get off the paddleboard and get rid of that 30-pound dumbbell you're using for an anchor? I went over to the rep's house and I got in his boats, and I admittedly never gave his boat back to him. So
oh wow,
that's kind of how we got into the bass fishing tournament side. My wife and I, kayak angling specifically. And then social media was just an evolution. I actually, with my events announcement and announcing as my job, I had a social media, and I was called Mr. Wish I Was Surfing. And I was always trying to surf and get to the ocean. And then I noticed as time went on, I was only posting fishing pictures. And I had this following of people that expect Chris, the race announcer, and he's just holding up bass every day. And they're like, man, this guy, this is too much.
Wow.
So with the addiction, I just said, okay, I'm going to make a business decision, understanding social media. I'm just going to present my passion. I'm just going to show fishing every single day. We still do a lot of other activities, but by perception, we are just fishing. And literally we sneak fishing in pretty much every day. It's across the street, as I mentioned. So that's kind of a snapshot of the evolution to Mr. Wish I Was Fishing, Miss Wish I Was Fishing. The podcast is kind of a movement towards, it's going to be called I Am Fishing. And literally, I think I fish almost too much to be called Mr. Wish I Was Fishing. And so the backside, we have this fish sock business, and we've met people through fish socks, and there's so many cool stories in fishing that I'm just super excited to share with people. And that's really, you know, the podcast side. You get to interview some fun people. I've met phenomenal anglers from all around the world, and they've got stories to tell. And I want to kind of knit this network together and share why we're addicted and what fishing is to me, what fishing is to them, and see what it's all about.
So does the sock business currently pay the bills, or is there something else happening?
So when people ask what I do for a living, I just announced it was an actual surf festival. So the Maverick Surf Festival, huge waves in Half Moon Bay. We just did a kickoff last weekend. So I was the event announcer for that. A few weeks ago, I announced the San Francisco Giants half marathon. I'm doing a run for education. So my business prior to Fish Socks was I own huge sound systems and tents, and I would do these events like 30 times a year. I would load up our huge event trailer and go and produce these events.
Wow.
There's still some of that happening. COVID just said, no more public events. They said, forget it. So the cool thing with bass fishing is I would show up at a bass fishing tournament with kayaks, announce the start of the event, play the national anthem, run down, hop in my kayak, go and fish all day, and then come back and do the award ceremony. And so it's just all these things that we figure out. The Fish Socks have done a fantastic job, and we appreciate the support of people. We're working with some shops now. We also make disc golf socks. So my youngest son, we got 6 kids, 5 boys, and the youngest boy's 15. He's a sponsored disc golfer. So we actually sponsor like 5 players on tour. We make socks for the player pack. So when people ask what I do for a living, I have no idea how to properly answer that. We go 1,000 miles an hour. We work with amazing sponsors in the fishing side. We're trying to do some promotion. The podcast is this whole next business venture. I literally, I'm holding the socks because I'm sitting in our sweatshop. This is where our house, we converted an area, and we make the socks on site. We don't make the socks. Everyone's like, you knit them? We bring in blank socks. We sublimate. We print them here. So we're hands-on through the whole process. So it's a labor of love because it connects us with fishing. Now everyone's holding up their fish next to their socks. And again, that's how I've met these people that just have these crazy stories, and they're going out and they're fishing, and I get to talk to them now on this new podcast. So we're super excited.
So what made you get into I guess you say the announcing world, the public speaking world?
The joke is I actually in high school, I was the rally commissioner. So I actually did this from high school, and my wife politely says, yes, you're the exact same person. You've never grown up. So, and I get it. That's what I've done. I've been able to kind of joke and laugh and tease. I'm the guy at a half marathon that gets on the microphone, and for 7 hours, I have to mildly entertain myself, sometimes at the expense of the participants, but we try to play nice. So we just got to talk for hours and hours. And like I said, I did a podcast intro the other day, and I've talked to a bunch of people. I just love to learn. I am a huge, big kid, and talking and learning. Teaching golf was one of my passions when I was a golf pro. And fishing, you can never learn enough with fishing. And so when I get to learn about somebody else's water, I'm a way better bass fisherman for my time spent on the river as a fly fisherman. And I'm a better fly fisherman because I used to prospect for gold with my dad and I understood eddy lines. And so it's just all these crazy things that come together. And I've lived a life underwater, spearing fish, diving for abalone. And so it's just like, what do I talk about? How do I learn public speaking? As you see from talking to me, I have way too much energy and I talk too much. So it's like, this job is made for me. I'm like, why did I wait so long to do a podcast? But I was busy doing other stuff.
Like you said,
I get that.
Whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah, a bunch.
I do plenty. I'm real bad about talking. 90% of the time in my YouTube channel, I've got to cut stuff out because I just go on too long, chase rabbits, down different holes.
That's it.
It's just like, well, by the way, and then you can do it this way. And then I was like, this one time.
They're like, what is that guy talking about? I thought we started talking about something else. Yep. No, I think that's the joy. Like I listen to some of your underspin things and I follow along as much information as I can because if you can listen to somebody for a little bit and be involved, the cool thing about a podcast is you can be doing whatever you're currently working on.
Right.
And if you can glean a little bit of information that makes your life a little better, makes your day a little brighter, or makes your fishing more successful, that's what it's all about. So I'm super excited.
So the title of the podcast again was I Am Fishing?
I am fishing. And literally my goal with all of this, of course, we have these great dreams. I want to go fish with people. I'm going to throw it out there when I start. Like literally The Rock is this movie multi-bazillionaire and he's got all of his own brands and The Rock he bass fishes on his property.
Oh yeah, we've seen the
I want
photos.
to talk to The Rock and say, like, right, we see the photos, the videos, like why The Rock could go on a $100 million tuna vessel out in the ocean and go after the biggest game fish. Why is he bass fishing? What's the connection? What's the story? Obviously it's convenience. That's why I fish for bass. And I think this whole thing of I am fishing, my goal is to tell a story of what fishing is for me is completely different from what fishing is for someone else. And I want to eliminate, I'm cooler because I use swim baits and you're not as cool because you're fishing a drop shot. It's like, you really think you're cooler than someone because the bait you throw? Like, and so it's this whole idea of how to have these stories told and literally we're all just people trying to get along. And I think if we can knit some of that together and like, wow, it's really cool. My wife fishes with a drop shot first because the rest of us, I think it's funny. We all want to fish something. It's like, oh yeah, I have to go back to the drop shot if it's more pressured or if the fish aren't biting what I want them to bite. She's like, man, you guys aren't that smart. Like I'm going to catch him with a drop shot first. And then I'm going to use what's probably not more successful. It's like, well, I guess that's just the more intelligent way to do things. If that's what we're going to, can we say that out loud? Like, let's do what works best first. Like, wow, that's a whole unique way. But that's some of the stuff to touch on in the podcast. It's going to have an evolution of its own. It's a life of its own. And hopefully with the guests that want to come on and the people I've already contacted, I'm excited to see what I can learn and then to share it with people.
So like you said, the whole thing is to meet new anglers, meet new people, meet people in the fishing world who don't necessarily, and like I said, guys, this podcast is going to cover all realms. I mean, that's what we concentrate on bass here. That's our main thing, but we do enjoy having different people from different walks of life, bait creators, podcasters, YouTubers. We've had everything, you name it, on there. But is there going to be a format? Is there going to be something, what they can expect each show to be?
We're going to go every week. And we're going to kick this off. And it's like the pressures you put on yourself. And I think you mentioned, like, how many podcasts can you get done in a year? Can I miss a show? And are people going to like execute me? Does this work? I want to have a host with myself, co-host with my wife at times. And I don't want to put the pressure on her, but she'll make the show better if she's on there. And the reality is to have a couple stories and then get to the point of, I want to ask people questions and I want to have that token takeaway of what they can expect. I honestly believe that with the fish socks or my golf business or whatever I was doing, I let the customers dictate the business. And that's kind of how this world is. People are going to let me know whether they like the podcast or not. You can watch and see where they drop off and stop listening to you nowadays. So I really want to ask those questions of, somewhat, why are you addicted to fishing? What does fishing mean to you in your life? Why do you fish so much and too much like me? What has it helped you with? And then, I got to give nods to the things that have helped me. I always talk about like the successful ingredients that make my outings work and how I catch fish and what's fun. I have a guy, I'll give you a perfect example. He's 87 years old, lives in our local community, and he fishes 3 days a week, launches this little dinghy from the back of his golf cart and goes out in the water by himself. I want to find out, like, the fountain of youth. Like, what has Larry found to keep him so intrigued to go trolling with a little electric motor and caught 6 fish the other day on his whopper plopper? Mm-hmm. I want to talk to Larry.
That's awesome.
Rad. And it's like, this guy is so cool. And it doesn't have to be the superstar of the rock, but of course we want to talk to the rock and like, why are you bass fishing? But the everyday person at the pond that is living life and enjoying it. You know, what did it take to get them there? And if you could share that to somebody through your listeners, and that makes them make a left turn, maybe towards something more successful, being happier, then the podcast's worth it. That's what it's about.
That's awesome. Are you going to strictly stick with the bass fishing, or are we going to, you know, like you've said, you have a lot of different worlds, or is this going to be 99% fishing?
It's going to be fishing. And that's the thing, is the thread through all of it is fishing all the way. Bass fishing. I live in this weird mecca of bass fishing. For instance, one of our neighbors has a home here, and he makes baits, and he makes some of the best handmade baits. We've got 3 of the best bait designers. We've got UFO Baits in town. They live here in this local area. So we've got this amazing network of large bass swim baits, which is like all the buzz. I love using them. It's really cool. I get to talk to some of them. I've got Xander from Tackle Tour. So Alex May, he's got his brand and his business, and he fishes on this lake all the time. So we're going to dive into some of that because that's easy for me. But like I mentioned, the fish socks, I know a young gal, and she actually just bought her own boat, and she is on the East Coast. She harvests green crabs, which came over in the hulls of the ships in the 1800s. They're invasive on the East Coast. She goes out and throws crab traps every day, and she's a lobster angler. And she's rad, and she's on the internet, and it's that salty blonde, and she's super cool. And I want to interview her. I want to tell her story because, yeah, she catches bass, striped bass, that are bigger than most people ever. But if I can keep the bass community involved to understand that there are things outside of the bass world, sometimes we all get so pigeonholed in just what we do. Yeah. Understanding the human connection beyond, it's really fishing. I know that thing with Ike, and they were talking, we mentioned it, there's the whole weights and this drama that's happened. Mm-hmm. Ike was like, walleye anglers are insane. Like, they're awesome. And that's a whole foreign world to me. Like, I've never fished for walleye. I want to go fish for walleye. And so Chris Hollingsworth, I am fishing. At some point, I want to be fishing with somebody that knows how to catch walleye. And we're going to talk about walleye fishing. And so that's, you know, the podcast, I have its idea, and it's just going to be an evolution. Hopefully that lasts for years and years. And I just get to talk to people.
That is awesome.
Yeah, we're excited.
Once a week, where would they be able to listen, man?
Everywhere we're podcasts. I'm trying to do my homework, and you're good at this, and you talk about hosting and different things. It's going to be blasted. I have a couple brands of a hosting site that I'm going to be working with, and we'll give them all the information. But if they keep following, hopefully they follow me and my wife, Mr. and Mrs. Wish I Was Fishing. We got our fish stock brand, and we'll publish everywhere where they can find it. But your normal Apple Podcasts, all the different places, we'll have it broadcasted throughout. So hopefully they can find us pretty easy. But I am fishing is the name that you're gonna be looking for, and hopefully it'll be a good listen.
There you go. So we got to head on over and check it out. Now, I know something that we learned here at the BassCast and BassCast Radio, a weekly podcast and a time of the week that podcast is dropped, because people are always looking, you know, they get used to that. They get used to saying, okay, your podcast is, I can look for Chris on Monday morning.
Guaranteed.
When you don't see Chris.
Oh man, they're gonna be texting you, like, Chris, where's the podcast?
Where's the podcast?
I got my cereal here. It's getting soggy with my milk. Like, dude, get the podcast up. So I haven't given it the specific time yet. Okay. I know I've been asked that. I'll tell you what's happening. I turned 50 October 19th. That's what's kicking this off. And it's funny, when I was a young kid, I thought for sure Willard Scott is gonna say my name when I turn 100. I didn't realize that Willard Scott would be dead before I returned 100. So it's like, oh man, this whole thing, like, Willard Scott's not the guy anymore for the Smuckers.
Oh my goodness.
This is 100. So, but turning 50, it was this joke with my wife. I want to live to be 100. So this is the second act. This is like Chris's podcast. He talks way too much. Give him a microphone. So I got a microphone. We got some headsets, and we're just going to talk. So you tell me, maybe behind the scenes, text me when I should drop this thing. I'm fine to do live, and live I think is what scares most people away.
Yes.
I'm fine to do a live thing. It's a mess, and I'm okay to be a mess. And if I'm drooling and I got stuff on my face, I don't really care. So I want to incorporate some live pieces. I actually want to do the podcast, like I was mentioning, while I'm fishing. For years, I was hosting and doing events, and I would have before Zoom was really the cool thing, I'd have conference calls all the time on my lake, and I would be fishing the whole time I was on the conference call. And so it's good that I'm probably sharing this now. So when I was doing like a walk for Stanford University, I'm talking to this panel of doctors and the Stanford security, and I'm landing a bass quietly while I'm fishing and talking and letting it go.
Oh my goodness.
I'm really good at catching great fish and being able to manage a conversation. So I've been working on this. I am fishing my whole life, and I hope to be fishing during some of the live podcasts and doing interviews. And that's the dream, is having this local lake that I could go out early in the morning and do some filming. And it would be awesome if I was fishing right now. You would probably hate me, and you would see this gorgeous sunset, and I'd be catching fish while we're talking. And that's kind of the feeling. And then of course, get people out and have them come out on the lake. We got our pontoon boat out there now, and it just sets up for this opportunity to do some really fun stuff.
All right, so I was fishing. There it is. That's it.
I am fishing.
I am fishing.
I am fishing.
I am fishing now.
You'll see us, and you're gonna come, and when someday you can come, Brian and BassCast, come fishing. You're gonna be hanging out with Chris. We're gonna be doing a podcast, and it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, we actually did a podcast early in the year with Zandal Tackle Tour.
Awesome.
And awesome, great guy out there. And, with his website and keeping up with the baits and the latest product and what's new and what's in and what's fresh. And I ain't gonna lie, guys, if you guys, we're all used to on this coast, we all have wired to fish. That's our, it's been our thing here for years, but wired to fish got ate up. So, it got bought out by one of the big networks. But Zandal Tackle Tour, like I said, he breaks down new products, rates them, ranks them, all that good stuff. So, it's just a great place to learn about what's new and what's fresh.
He's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because I have a buddy that lives on the lake, and he's like, look at this guy caught this monster yesterday. And he sends me a picture. He took a picture of Xander out. And I was like, yeah, that's Xander. I sent him back because he put on social media, he was looking at his new batteries. And I'm like, he's wearing the same outfit. So it's really cool to have these people in this neighborhood, this network. Because of that, it's like this podcast is a necessity. I have access to some amazing anglers, and we're going to tell their stories and hopefully have them on as reoccurring guests and keep up to date. That's the fun part, is Xander's so good about doing his homework. I'm not that good about knowing the exact the baits and the current rods and what's going on. Yeah. Let's have them tell that story and tell him. He's addicted to that. And I want to know why. Like, there has to be a reason that he flies overseas and meets a person that's hand carving a $2,000 swim bait. So
that's awesome.
I want to know the story. Yeah, it's really cool.
All right, guys. Chris Hollingsworth, man, we appreciate you coming on, telling us your story. Congratulations on another chapter in life, the new podcast. And man, I'm gonna follow, check it all out. And
absolutely.
And man, it's cool. It's a great idea. And we'll look forward to it, and can't wait to the next episode. And you said you've already done how many?
I've canned up 3, and this is the thing, is like you gotta stay current, you gotta keep making them. And I haven't released them. I may wipe those and just go off the cuff the first couple, and we may go live with a few of them just to feel out the audience. And that's this whole thing. I want to have interaction. I want to have live social media, the platforms. You can host a podcast and be talking to people.
It's fun.
The show, it's fun. It's crazy. And this is the stuff I know I'm fine to put out bad podcasts to start. That's what I'm not scared of. We're just going to do it. And I think as time goes on and we evolve, we're going to figure out the right listeners, the right process, the time that we can release it. Who knows? It's a learning process. And this is what I'm excited to learn about podcasts. So I hope people have that patience with us and follow along, and we can all be a part of this growth. I just want to say thank you. One of the biggest ways to get your podcast out there is to be on podcasts.
Yes.
The quote, I say it all the time. The quote is, like a rising tide raises all ships. Thank you for having me on your podcast, letting me talk about my podcast. This is cool. And I'm going to have you on my podcast at some point, and hopefully we're out fishing when we're doing it. So that's
awesome. Thank you, brother, for coming on. Guys, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Like I said here at the BassCast Radio, we always like doing something just a little different. And Chris Hollingsworth, like I said, we'd like to thank him for coming on, talking to us about his new podcast, I Am Fishing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting, the stories that he's going to tell on there.
And there's so many freaking stories out there, from all different walks of life, people, countries. It kind of almost made me, there's a couple different magazines I read, like for outdoor magazines, kind of, made me think about some of those and some of the stories they tell from different countries, as well as right here. The sky's the limit for this podcast right here, and it should be a great success. So I Am Fishing. Make sure you guys are following Mr. Wish IWAZ Fishing on Instagram. And that way you guys can keep up with when he actually drops the very first episode. So we appreciate him coming on. Guys, English Choice, I'll be there all weekend for their two-day tournament championship. Smith Mountain Lake is fishing very well right now. So hopefully we'll see some big old bass being weighed in. And then the week after that, the BassCast.com is back out on the water. I didn't bring that up. I did. The last podcast, we had 33 anglers fish with us the last tournament. We appreciate all you guys for coming out fishing with us. We can't handle 50. 50 is about the most we can handle. Ain't nobody, me and Danielle and Aaron and Connor and, but we're happy to have that many boats and be able to serve you guys, and you guys come out and fish with us. And another thing.
All right, guys, wait a minute. I've got to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I just want to say to all of you out there, challenge accepted. 55 boats. We gotta make his life a little bit of hell.
I did hit 43 or 44 one tournament, and I was like, holy cow, that's amazing. And everybody's like, can you get it to 60? That way we can qualify for all the other stuff, the bonus bucks, the bonus cash, and all the other stuff. But it's just one of them things where it's a whole lot going on, and we understand that, but we appreciate you guys supporting us. And a lot of guys fish with us just because they support us, and we're really grateful and appreciative for that. I've been trying to do a little bit more in front of the camera. I got that 4K upstairs and trying to do some more YouTube talking to you guys. And I appreciate you guys all checking that out. Our videos have actually had 100 views. And, for me, that's
nice.
Thank you guys for that. Head on over, hit the Bass Geek bell and notification. Let's get them followers on up there. I haven't looked in a while. I ain't gonna lie to you, Geek. What are you up to now?
We had 61,200 a day. Now it's slowed down, so I appreciate everybody I know hunting season is on us.
Yes.
I know it, guys.
But I think when we started,
don't forget about us bass guys.
There you go. Because I think when we started, we were like 50,000, weren't you?
This year, I think we was in the high 40s.
So we've been crushing. Yeah, I ain't crushing nothing. You've been crushing it. So
it's been pretty amazing. It was going like we were doing like 3,000 new subscribers a week or a month there for June and July, and then F-150 hit my house, and so I didn't get to put out any videos. So we're kind of trying to get the mo back.
There you go.
And the momentum.
There you go. Well, appreciate you guys listening. Thank you all for listening to the show. Be back next week. A lot of stuff is happening right here, and we look forward to sharing it all with you. So, guys, we appreciate you all listening. Make sure you head on over, give us your feedback, check us out, our brand new YouTube channel for BassCast Radio. And like I said, a lot's going on, lots happening, and we look forward to bringing you guys some more great content in the weeks ahead. So have a great night, everybody.